Child porn stings. It's an interesting, well, both those and then like the catch a predator cases are very interesting. Once you get past the, I guess the nature of them, legally they're very interesting. It's clear producing child porn is abuse and is illegal. But merely possessing the materials seems to be a bit of a gray area, although courts haven't treated it that way. And then nowadays, so much of it is done kind of remotely. They find out about it after the fact. Either because they're monitoring some site or they've set up the site themselves, which of course then raises entrapment issues, or they're notified by an ISP. So people would probably be surprised to know, some people would, that if you don't use a VPN, your internet service provider, whether that's your cable company, Comcast or whoever, or your telephone company, they can see everywhere you've been, everywhere you go. And so your search history is connected to your name in some office building somewhere. And so that's a lot of the ways that they're called. And then usually what they'll try to do, I think, to shore up the case, is they'll go out to your house. They'll get a warrant based on, okay, well, he went to this site. And then they'll get a warrant and they'll come to your house and basically confiscate your computer and your hard drives and things. These get a little bit technical, and again, where it gets interesting is, okay, one thing is it knowingly? So, can you visually distinguish between a girl who's 17 years, 364 days old, and a girl who's 18 years and 1 day old? There's physically maybe you can't tell the difference. Now, some cases, obviously, if it's a child, there's no question. So that becomes one thing, and then, downloading. Did you download it? When people think of downloading, they think of like, well, you're clicking a button, like clicking a download button. But actually, you go to like a news website, just going to the website, you don't know what's there, but then you download the homepage, you download whatever the front page story is, the pictures from that, the text, just going to a website, you automatically download stuff. And so then it becomes a question of, well, okay, did I go to the site intending to download illegal materials? Did I know what was there? Did I knowingly download? Did I know what the age of the person was? And I guess that's really where it gets interesting. Now, a lot of the times, they get the warrant, they go to the house, they confiscate the computer, and there's enough materials there that there's really no question. Either the victim is so young that it's obvious. A lot of the times the search history goes a long way towards proving their case. If you go to Google and where can I find whatever, although that's probably not the best way, because I don't think Google returns, so it doesn't. If you can't go on Google and say where can I find illegal materials, because Google will say I'm not giving you that. But if you're searching for things that are kind of adjacent to that can be evidence against you, young girls, jailbait, that kind of thing. That can, kind of lead you to a site, which will lead you to a site, which will lead you somewhere. Then you get into like dark web too, using Tor browsers. It's a very complex And I guess like with any case, they end up being fact intensive. You know, what I have found is the earlier you get the attorney involved, the better. You know, as soon as law enforcement comes out to your house, as soon as they leave, really, you need to be calling a lawyer. I was coincidentally able to resolve a CP case recently, where the person came to us quickly. I reached out to some people that I know, engaged a private investigator, and we went right to work, kind of working our end. You know, as with any case, you know, the further it gets down the road, it's kind of like it's like a battleship in that regard. Like, the more speed and momentum you pick up, the harder it is to turn it around. And so letting them know that you've got a lawyer on the front end, you know, when they're trying to make a decision, like, well, like in that case, like, well, you know, it's kind of borderline. Do we have enough? Well, he's represented by an attorney. He's already got counsel that's been in touch with me. His investigators have been in touch with me. Yeah, probably that tie is going to go your way if they think there's going to be a fight and they think the whole case might get thrown out, you know, by a good lawyer. And ultimately in that case, we got the news after a couple of months that they were not going to proceed. They were not going to prosecute. So the guy was very lucky. And in that situation, because they did it before they filed charges, there is no public record anywhere that this guy was ever investigated, that anything happened, you know, other than inside the offices of the FBI or wherever, or GBI. Like, nobody knows. If you search this guy, you run a background check on him, you'd have no idea.